Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's so good to have you all here. A happy International Women's Day to every one of us here. It's a time for us to celebrate women, to celebrate the wins and the giant strides that women have made over time. Thank you so much for joining me to this auspicious event this evening. Please, wherever you are in any part of the world joining us, would like to have you type on the chat box. Let me know where you're joining us from. Thank you. Please type in the chat box. Thank you so much. I can see people from Lagos, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, more people from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us. Delta State, Owerri, Ibadan, Ibejuleki, Haruna, Okunbanjo from Abuja. Thank you for joining us. Surulere, Lagos, Manchester, United Kingdom. Thank you so much for joining us. And I can see Ayo Block, Ikorodu, Lagos. Thank you so much for joining us. Dokpemu, Lagos, Ekpe, Lagos, Warri, Delta State. Thank you so much. We have Canada, Sierra Leone, Igondo, Lagos, Ikeja, Lagos. Latifat from Abuja, Nigeria. We have Miriam from Ilori, Kwara State. We have Yemi from Ogun State. Someone else from Munshi, Lagos, Surulere, Lagos, United States of Nigeria. Absolutely. Shagam. Catherine Edet from Calabar. Alemayo from Ibadan. Port Harcourt, Rivers State. We have Frank from Delta State. Odelade Temitope from Asaba, Delta State. Johannesburg, South Africa. Grace from Ikorodu. Efota from Ikorodu. Muiwa, Lagos. Dayo, Lagos. Tunde Taiwo from Ibadan. Dasayo Opeyemi from Lagos. Awolu Fumilayo from Ondo State. Kazim from Lagos State. Abel from Ikorodu. Moshood from Ipaja. Fatima, Lagos State. Akangbe Taiwo from Ekpe, Lagos State. Kenneth from Barbados. Sheyi from Lagos State. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you all join us here. Thank you so much. This is the QHSES Leadership Academy International Women's Day event. And the theme, just as it's in line with the United Nations International Women's Month, is Accelerate Action. My name is Ijeoma Thomas Odia. My name is Ijeoma Thomas Odia, and I'm the lead moderator for this evening, for you this evening. And I have with me my co-moderator. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Ijoma. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining the QHSC International Women's Day session. My name is Kauthar Abdulaziz, and I am the moderator for this event. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. In line with this year's International Women's Day, themed Accelerate Action, it's a charge for all of us as women, even for the he for she's, and men most importantly, to join hands with women to ensure that the fight to have women in places where they are supposed to be, in industries where they're supposed to be thriving, in leadership roles, most especially, becomes a dream. We want to see more women accelerating action in their various fields. We want to see more women taking part in decisions that affect them. And so this evening, we'll be having deliberations. We'll hear from, powerful women who will be sharing insights on how they have been able to scale the ladder, and also tell us about what we should be doing differently in this time and age. We will now take our national anthem as it is right now. Nigeria. We hail thee, our own dear native land.
in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve a sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace all battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hand unto our children a banner without stain.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So right now we'll be welcoming Ololade Azizat, the admin team, to take us through a sustainability moment. Ololade Azizat will be taking us through a sustainability moment.
All
Hello,
right.
Ololade. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good
Happy
evening.
International Women's Day. Please go ahead with it.
Hello, Ololade. Are you there?
Yes,
Please take
yes,
us
I'm with
through
you.
the sustainability moment.
All right. Am I audible?
Yes, please. We can hear you.
All right. Please. So we are going to be watching the next video on the slide. I'm going to be talking about it while we go ahead. So please, next slide. So this video captures the journey of a start with symbolizing the gift of younger attention to education, marriage, and eventually become a mother. So throughout the pictures, powerful affirmations
A wonderful mother, a loving daughter, a great sister, a perfect partner, and a caring grandma. Every moment in life is incomplete without you. We thank you for being women.
All right. So I'm not sure if I've been audible, but I want to tell you that this video excuse me, this video beautifully captures the journey of a young woman's life, starting with pregnancy and childbirth, symbolizing the gift of life. It follows the growth of a young girl, her dedication to education, graduation, career success, marriage, and eventually becoming a mother herself, a full circle representation of womanhood. So throughout the visuals, we saw powerful affirmations that highlight the strength and resilience and the love that women bring to the world. The video emphasizes that every moment in life is incomplete without women and expresses gratitude for their role in shaping the world. Because as mothers, we are wonderful. As daughters, we are loving. As sisters, we are great. As partners, we are perfect. And as grandmothers, we are caring. This year's International Women's Day theme, Accelerate Action, is a celebration of womanhood and a call to action to create a world where every woman can thrive, lead, and inspire. Because what is the origin of sustainability if no woman is mentioned? We are life. Women are the core of sustainability because we give life, we nurture, we protect. A world without women is a world without continuity, without growth, without balance. How can sustainability exist if the very foundation, women, is ignored? So in that case, this year's International Women's Day theme, Accelerate Action, is a call for a sustainable and safe future through safer workplaces, and equitable opportunities for women, breaking biases that limit women's growth and leadership, supporting policies that empower and uplift women in all fields. Women are also the forefront of sustainability, creating safer environments, promoting sustainability, and driving changes in the workplace, communities, and beyond. By ensuring that women are included in safety and sustainability efforts, we are not only protecting lives, but also shaping a better future for generations to come. This International Women's Day, let's accelerate action to ensure that safety, sustainability, and inclusivity go hand in hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ololade. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll be inviting the team lead communications, Folorusho Damilola. Folorusho Damilola should be taking the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy International Women's Day. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. I welcome everyone. Good day, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and friends. I am so honored to welcome you all on this day as we come together to celebrate the International Women's Day for this year. We gather together today as one community, women and men alike, to recognize the incredible achievements of women, reflect on our shared journey towards gender equity, and most importantly, commit ourselves to accelerating the pace of change. And as a proud member of the admin team of the QHSES Leadership Academy, I am here not only as an advocate for quality, health, safety, and environment and sustainability, but also as a believer in the transformative power of education and leadership. Our academy's core values are selfless service, togetherness, accountability, and respect for one another reminds us that every step we take, every decision we make contributes to a future where every individual has the opportunity to thrive. Today, as we mark International Women's Day under the powerful theme, Accelerate Action, we are called to move beyond celebrating past achievements and to actively champion change in every corner of our lives. So the message of Accelerate Action resonates deeply with us at QHSES. At a time when progress towards full gender equity seems to crawl at a pace that challenges our hope for the future. This call for swift, decisive action urges us to dismantle systemic barriers, challenge outdated norms, and create opportunities that empower women and enrich society as a whole. It reminds us that gender parity is not just a distant ideal, it's a goal that demands our relentless energy right now, our collective wisdom, and our unwavering commitment. Our academy has always believed in the power of education to shape a better tomorrow. And so, in the words of Malcolm X, education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. This vision has inspired us to cultivate leaders who not only excel in technical and professional excellence, but who also carry a profound sense of purpose and compassion. By integrating quality, health, safety, environment, and sustainability into our learning, we are nurturing a generation that understands that progress is holistic, that the well-being of our people and our planet go hand in hand. So today, as we celebrate the accomplishments of women from all walks of life, let us also acknowledge that true progress requires the support and active participation of every one of us on this call. Gender equity is not solely a woman's issue, it's a societal imperative, and it calls upon us all, both men and women, to foster environments where each person is valued, where every voice is heard, and where differences are celebrated as the foundation of innovation and growth. In our daily work, whether in boardrooms, laboratories, classrooms, or community centers, even in our homes,
Okay, I think we have lost Folorunsho Shaw here. If she's here, she can take it off.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Today we celebrate the International Women's Day, IWD 2025. Congratulations.
Hello, can
Please
anyone hear me
continue.
now?
Yes, we can hear you. Please continue.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not sure where you lost me. All right, anyway, I would like to invite you all to join me as we move further in the program today. Let's listen and reflect on all our speakers have prepared so that we leave here embracing this call to accelerate action and be inspired by the stories of remarkable achievements, but also energized to take practical, bold steps towards a more equitable future for all of us. Let us build bridges of understanding, foster innovative solutions, and ensure that our action today pave the way for a world where gender parity is not a distant promise, but a living, breathing reality for all of us. Thank you for being here, for your dedication, and for your unwavering commitment to making the world a better place for all of us. Together, let's accelerate action. Together, let's create hope for the future we envision. And together, let's celebrate the power of unity and resilience. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Folorunsho, for the address. That was really, really enlightening. And I really, really appreciate what you said about the progress being a holistic endeavor in the sense that it is something that has to be very encompassing. It's also important that you mentioned the fact that the well-being of planet and people go hand in hand.
Today we celebrate the International Women's Day, IWD 2025. Congratulations to all women and all supporters for women empowerment according to one of our great mentors, Ibuka Awasika. I have sat at tables and to make things work, you need the diversity of the voice, the integrity of women. The patience they bring to the table, their courage to change things and their ability to influence and influence positively, against all odds. At QHSES Leadership Academy, we believe that investing in women creates inclusive societies. Let's accelerate action for women's equality.
Empowering women determines how great our future can be. Accelerate action. Accelerate action. Accelerate action.
A day to celebrate the strength, values, and determination of each and every woman globally. Women's equality in all its forms. Accelerate action.
Hi, Hamada. I'm accelerating action by prioritizing two key areas. One, enhancing customer satisfaction and experience. Two, driving innovation and digital transformation. Let's work together to deliver exceptional results. Happy International Women's Day!
Let us accelerate action on women equity. Let's ensure access to quality education for girls and women. Let's support programs like leadership program training, mentorship, economic empowerment initiative. Let's ensure our women are well represented in all the functioning in offices. Let them be elected politically into a leadership position in this country.
I am proud to be a woman, a man with a home, who believes in making the world a better place than I met it. Therefore, in fulfilling this goal, I accelerate action. Happy International Women's Day 2025!
International Women's Day 2025. This year, we accelerate action.
Women, nature's pride. Let's celebrate action.
Hello everyone,
Happy International Women's Day, and it's the time to accelerate action. Bye.
Wow, that was really, really powerful and very, very insightful. I mean, don't you think, Ijoma, that it's really, really amazing to see women in diverse forms just, pushing the charge for accelerating action for the International Women's Day 2025?
It's absolutely amazing. I love to see where women are coming out, showing up, being the best of themselves in wherever with whatever field they find themselves. We want to ensure that as we go along in life's journey, we accelerate action in wherever we find ourselves.
Yeah, and I think it's also important that the theme this year is accelerate action, meaning all the areas that we're focused on in terms of women empowerment, we need to accelerate action in that regard. Same goes for equality, inclusion, and the empowerment of women in every ramifications. And it's also important to also know that as a woman and as an individual, it is very, very important to try and lend your voice to the cause. Because as Audre Lorde says, your silence cannot protect you.
On this note, it's time to welcome our keynote speaker. She's the CEO Ikeja Electric, a delectable, intelligent, and powerful lady. I'll have my co-moderator read out her profile.
All right. Thank you all, everyone, once again for joining us here. So we'll be introducing our keynote speaker, Mrs. Folake Shueton. Mrs. Folake Shueton is a pathfinder and business transformation leader in Nigeria's power sector. Folake has propelled Ikeja Electric to new heights, steering the company to national acclaim with awards like Best Electricity Distribution Company and Most Gender Diverse Utility Company at the 2022 Nigeria Power Sector Awards. Our journey began in the aviation industry, where our commitment to operational excellence took root. Joining Sahara Group in 2009, our transformative impact soon became evident, leading to our redeployment to Ikeja Electric in 2015. Recognized as one of the Eco 100 Women by Lagos State in 2022, Folake's influence extends beyond corporate boundaries to drive societal progress and inclusion. She is a founding member of the Women in Energy Network, an active member of Women in Management, Business and Public Service, WIMBIS, and the Boardroom Africa. Known for her strategic foresight, technology-driven solutions, and unwavering commitment to business success, Folake's leadership embodies a relentless pursuit of excellence and a focus on leveraging the strength of her team to deliver exponential outcomes. She is passionate about developing the next generation of leaders. Folake is an alumnus of the University of Lagos, where she obtained a Bachelor of Science in Finance before completing an advanced management program with Harvard Business School Executive Education. Her adventurous spirit shines through her love for fast cars and her dream of one day racing on Formula One track. Driven by both personal and professional passions, she is committed to leaving a legacy of impact, innovation, and inspiration. All right. So at the moment, Mrs. Folake Shueton is not here to address us yet. However, in her absence, I would implore every one of us to please try and show support to Mrs. Folake Shueton for still ensuring to join us today to address us, despite the recent attack on the Ikeja Electric building by the men of the Nigerian Air Force. Please, I would like to implore every one of us to drop chats in the chat box for Madam Folake Shueton, expressing that we stand with her, expressing that she is a woman of strength, and letting her know that she doesn't stand alone. Thank you all, and I await to see everyone's support in the chat box.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can see your smileys or emojis in the chat box. Well done. Thank you. Mrs. Folake Shoiton will join us before the end of the program. And up next, we'll be calling on Our speaker, Raquel Kashma Daniel. She will be speaking to us today, and I'll have my co-moderator read out her profile.
All right. Raquel Kasham Daniel is a Nigerian social impact leader, passionate about education, gender equality, and children's rights. She is the founder and executive director of Beyond the Classroom Foundation, BTCF, where she works to improve education for undeserved children and equip girls with knowledge on body safety, digital security, and gender-based violence prevention. Through BTCF, Raquel has provided free books and learning materials to children in marginalized communities and internally displaced persons across Nigeria. She also leads initiatives that distribute free sanitary pads, ensuring girls stay in school and do not miss out on education due to period-related challenges. She's the co-founder of Bambini Africa, an edutainment company dedicated to creating fun, educational content, and experiences for children through books, board games, animation, and digital learning tools. As a prolific author, Raquel has published over 30 children's books and launched 6 board games using storytelling to educate and inspire young minds. A sought-after keynote speaker, she speaks on gender-based violence, advocacy, and human rights, influencing policy and inspiring change. Through our work, Raquel continues to champion the rights of children and girls, ensuring that every child has access to education, every girl knows a voice matters, and no dream is out of reach. Thank you, Ma, for joining us today.
Raquel Daniel, please, you have the floor. Raquel, please, you have the floor. Okay. Raquel Daniel, please, you can unmute yourself, please. You can unmute yourself. Okay. Raquel, are you here now? Okay, so while we sort out the technical issue with Raquel Daniel's um, laptop, she's unable to communicate with us right now. We'll would like to call the next speaker Dr. Fa. We'd like to call the next speaker Dr. Fa. Okay, so Dr. Fa is a visionary champion of humanity in a world where human rights and gender equity face unprecedented challenges. Dr. Fa Anuge stands as a beacon of hope, resilience, and transformative leadership. This distinguished humanitarian, human rights activist, and gender equity advocate has dedicated her life to empowering individuals, communities, and nations. With a robust background in law, human rights and gender-based violence. Dr. Anuge founded the White Rose Foundation 36 years ago, pioneering a movement that has positively impacted thousands of lives. Her expertise spans multiple disciplines, including gender equality, human rights, gender based violence, anti money laundering, human capital development, grassroots community development. As a media personality, life coach, and author, Dr. Anuge has inspired countless lives to take action, fostering a culture of empowerment and social responsibility. She has written works which have been featured in publications such as 40 Pearls of Wisdom, and she pens a weekly column, The Bachelorette, in the Sun newspaper, Nigeria. Additionally, she facilitates a popular relationship show on Unilag FM radio,
So,
providing guidance and
what I want
support
to bring
to
out is that
individuals
rather than me having
navigating
issue with
complex situation
issue with my in-law,
relationships.
I think as in when she was here, for instance,
Please,
his sister-in-law,
please
I think it's the
let's all
opposite.
welcome
It's
Dr.
the
F.A. Anuge
sister
to the
that they almost
program.
fought.
Can we all welcome Dr. Efe? You can just slightly unmute and let's give her a clap. If you can just clap briefly, please, let's give her a clap. Dr. Efe, you have the floor.
Okay.
And I hope I did well with your surname. Please forgive me.
You are forgiven, but you didn't. Could we please mute the mics? There's a lot of background noise. Someone keeps on muting and speaking and unmuting and speaking. You know, it's a distraction for the rest of us. If you need to
Absolutely.
speak, please
Would handle that.
stay away from the button, you know, the microphone button. I don't know why it's an issue. And someone's mic is on again, you know. Okay, so thank you very. Oh, well, I think our able moderators, you can identify whose mic is on and mute it, or you private chat the person, or even call the person directly. You know, so much background noise. All right, so can I?
I'm so sorry about this. It's a technical issue, and technical team will be on it. Thank you so much, Doctor.
All right, so thank you for having me. And may I go on now?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so International Women's Day. We say accelerate action for Nigerian women. I would like to put it that way because we're domiciled here in Nigeria. It's all about lifting each other up. You know, I always say the sky is big enough for all of us, and we could fly. So as we celebrate International Women's Day, we recognize the crucial role Nigerian women play in shaping the country's future. Empowering Nigerian women is essential to empowering Nigeria as a whole. So, despite facing numerous challenges, Nigerian women continue to demonstrate resilience and determination. To accelerate this progress we're talking about, we must address the barriers to equality, including limited access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. We must also challenge patriarchal norms and stereotypes. We must support and amplify women's voices and advocate for policies and laws that promote gender equality. Okay. I hope the technical team is seriously on this. And Kende, your microphone is on. Mekudi, Kende, please, can we try? Maybe it's better to remove them from the platform so that there won't be this continuous interference. There's so much interference, you know, and we should be disciplined enough to leave our microphones on when we're talking. Thank you. So by empowering Nigerian women, if, you know, if you make one lose their trend of thinking when there's constant interruption, it's not very good. By empowering Nigerian women, we can unlock their full potential. We can drive economic growth and definitely build a more inclusive and equitable society. Today is International Women's Day and we celebrate it. But as we celebrate it, let us reaffirm our commitment to empowering Nigerian women and by extension empowering Nigeria. It is very important. We gather today, like I said, to celebrate the achievements of our women. We acknowledge the challenges they face and accelerate action towards gender equality in Nigeria. In keeping to this, we honor trailblazers, the change makers, and the unsung heroes who have paved the way for this generation and the generation yet to come. As we commemorate this special occasion, let's acknowledge the remarkable progress made by Nigerian women in various spheres of life, from the boardroom to the market, from the classroom to the corridors of power. Nigerian women are breaking barriers. We are definitely shattering glass ceilings. I call them iron ceilings now, but we are shattering glass ceilings and we're redefining the narrative. Yet, despite these gains, and you would agree with me, everywhere in the world, Nigerian women stand out. But what is happening in our own home front? We recognize that there's still much work to be done. The lingering inequalities, the systemic barriers, and the societal norms that continue to hold women back. Today, it behoves us to recommit ourselves to this fight for gender equality, to the pursuit of a world where Nigerian women can thrive, where we can lead, and where we can live without limits. And that's why it's important as we celebrate the power and strength and resilience of Nigerian women, we touch on some of these issues that are pertinent to us. Nigeria is Africa's largest economy. And we are at a crossroad in this journey towards gender equality. So despite progress in some areas, Nigerian women continue to face significant barriers to equal participation in the society. Now, let me share some of the challenges and let me give some real-time, figures, some real-time data so that we all understand what it is and where it is we are coming from. Only 6% of Nigerian women hold parliamentary seats compared to the 24% globally. Are you aware that 1 in 5 women experience physical or sexual violence? 1 in 5 women. Nigerian women earn 20% less than men, perpetuating the gender pay gap. Now, these figures are not made up, they're real. Only 22% of Nigerian women have access to formal financial services, limiting their economic empowerment. Is it in the area of opportunities? What do we have? Nigerian population is projected to reach about 440 million by 2050, with women comprising approximately half. Well, that's arguable. Some of us will say we are more than men, but some will say no, we are not. Men will say, well, it's just a fraction that they took from us. So let's go with that fraction, assuming that we are 49.5% of the population. The African Continental Free Trade Area presents opportunities for women, especially Nigerian women, to participate in regional trade and commerce. Is it digital technologies such as mobile money and e-commerce platforms can enhance women's economic empowerment and access financial services? If we look at countries like Rwanda, we see that they have made significant strides in promoting gender equity or equality, with women holding 64% of parliamentary seats. Can you compare that to our mere 6%? We are just 6%. There's no comparison. South Africa has implemented policies to promote women's economic empowerment, including affirmative action and procurement programs. In Nigeria, we have so many programs. Nigeria is always one of the first countries to assent to any rule on when it comes to gender equity, equality. Oh, Nigeria is always one of the first. We raise our hands. What about implementation? Kenya has launched initiatives to address gender-based violence, including the establishment of a national hotline and support services. Somebody will say, well, in Nigeria, we also have SAME. You know, we're talking about functionality here. Now let's look at some figures globally. Norway's gender equality policies have led to significant increases in women's participation in the workforce and politics. That is Norway. When policies are made, they are meant to be implemented. And if they are not implemented, we, the citizenry, should hold the government accountable. Canada's commitment to gender equality has resulted in the establishment of a national gender equality strategy and the creation of a minister for women and gender equality. Australia's initiatives to promote women's economic empowerment have included the establishment of a national women's economic security strategy and the creation of programs to support women's entrepreneurship. Nigeria has the potential to make significant progress towards gender equality by learning from other African countries and the global practices. We can definitely do a lot. Now, when I'm speaking, I always tell people, please take notes. And it might surprise you to know that I do have slides, but at the last minute, I felt, no, this is a very serious discussion we're having. We should not even be talking about slides. We should be taking notes. Because when you have figures and you have facts, you can speak in your own little corner of the world where you are. You will be able to speak our own truth. Speak your truth. That is it. We can increase participation in politics and decision making just by watching global practices. We can promote women's economic empowerment through access to financial services and digital technologies. In an aside, I remember speaking with my banker, and he said, you know what? I would have loved to give some of your women loans, but we don't like giving women loans. And I said, why? And he said, oh, they might just think about traveling to Dubai and buying jewelry. And I said, that's a very sexist statement. And if you feel that women do not know what to do with the money, what's wrong in organizing, a kind of seminar to enlighten women? That's what I asked him. To assume that all women will use it to buy makeup and to go to Dubai and to buy expensive clothes and to buy hair wig, that is an assumption. And that's a very sexist statement. So we all need to be careful because many times people play out what they're thinking. We need to address this gender-based violence that we're talking about, not in lip service, but in action. We need to promote women's safety, women's security. I don't know if I'm communicating. There's a bit of background noise again. I think that is coming from Temitope Alade. Thank you. Please be conscious of clicking on the button for the volume. If you are unable to stop that, then it's better you leave that where you are now because where you are is very sensitive. So whenever you're mute, we hear you. And that's a distraction. I've said that severally. It's really not very good. I'm hoping that this will stop. Now, how do we accelerate action in Nigeria? We can challenge our patriarchal norms. How? We recognize and challenge harmful gender stereotypes and biases in our daily lives. We see that every day. Don't turn a blind eye when a woman is being bullied, when a woman is being spoken down on, when a woman's rights are being trampled on. I was sharing with a friend some time ago and I said, if a woman's car is stopped and she's being harassed by the police or being harassed by a group of people, and every woman that drives past parks their car and goes there to say, what is going on? And then we have 2 women, and then we have 5, and then we have 10, and then we have 15, and then we have 25. I can assure you that whoever is harassing that woman will just say, you know what, madam, just go. I don't want trouble. We need to start speaking up for each other. We need to start speaking up for each other. Gone are those days. There's no competition. The sky is big enough for everybody to shine. Absolutely no competition. We need to support women-led initiatives. We need to amplify women's voices and support women-led businesses, organizations, and initiatives patronize each other. What about mentoring and empowerment? We need to mentor and empower women and girls in our communities to reach their full potential. Now that we mentioned community, what about organizing community events, workshops, campaigns to raise awareness about gender equality and promote women's empowerment? We can do that in our own little corner, in our own little space. You don't need a big platform like this that Engineer Jami has given to some of us that are privileged to be here today. You know, you can do it in your own little corner. You can make a difference where you are. Establish women's groups, cooperatives to provide support, training, economic empowerment. Engage men and boys. Thank God for Engineer Jamil, you know, and the amazing men we have on this platform. Engage men and boys in conversations about gender equality. Let them become he for she's, men that speak up for women. I always tell men, I say, look, it's a woman that had you for a child. You have a woman at home as your wife. You have a woman at home as your mother. You have a woman as your sister. And it's a woman that gave birth to you. We are all around you, men. So engage the men about gender equity and involve them in initiatives to promote women's empowerment. Somebody said, oh, it's a women's program. Well, if you don't engage men, how do you change their mindsets? How? And if we have done community work, what about advocacy? What about policies? We can advocate for policy changes that promote gender equality, such as equal pay, maternal leave, and protection from violence. I'm sure a lot of us are not aware about the Labor Act. I told someone, I said, go and read section 58, 54 to 56, 50, to 50, between section 54 and 58 of the Labor Act. You may or may not even be aware that if a woman has to go on maternity leave and is deprived of that and decides to stay back home to take care of herself, her body, and her growing child, and loses her job, she can't go to court. Because if she does, the penalty as of today, because it has not been changed, and if I'm to tell anyone here to unmute their mics and guess the penalty, I know that a few of you have heard me speak, so you know. But if I'm to say, if you have heard me speak, don't say a word. Let's just have a wild guess. Can anyone guess? Anyone? I'll just take two responses. Two. Can anyone guess the compensation, or rather the fine her boss gets for trampling on her rights? The fine he has to pay. Can anyone guess? And that anyone must not be in the group. Madam Moderators, is there anyone who can raise their hands, who can say something?
Yes, if you'd like to respond to Dr. Efe, kindly raise your hand. Use the raise.
I don't want to take your time. Yes, just I'll take response for just two people. Can you guess? Yes. Anyone? Okay, I'm not seeing everyone. I think the moderators are the only one that can see everyone. So I guess there's no one that wants to say something.
Okay, somebody.
Oh, good.
Okay, you have the floor, please.
50,000 naira.
Well, anyone else? That's a wild guess. Anyone? Very quickly, you know, time is precious for us. Okay.
10,000 naira.
Thank you. All right. So as not to prolong matters, it is 200 naira.
Wow.
200 naira. That is what your boss pays for trampling on your rights. to go on maternity leave. And I tell people, lawyers don't make the laws, they only interpret it. The judge enforces the law, he does not make the law. And so, no matter how sympathetic or empathetic that lawyer is or that judge is, they can't do anything about it except the laws are changed. And that is where policy comes in. That is where the legislative arm comes in. That is why we encourage our women to go into politics. We need to advocate for these changes on this maternal leave and, equal pay, gender equity, and of course, protection in the workplace. These are the rules. These are things we can do. We need to support women in politics because we all know that in politics, it is a game, and in the legislative arm, and I'm sure all of us did government here. We say there are 3 tiers of government: the executive, the legislative arm, and what? The judiciary, right? Now, who makes the laws? It is the legislatures that make the laws. It is the honorables, House of Rep, the Senate, the State House of Reps. They are the ones that make the laws. Okay? Nobody else has the right to make laws in this country, have the legal right. Only the House, the legislative arm. And so what can we do? It is a game of ayes and nays, right? The ayes have it, the nays have it. Today, as we speak, in the Nigerian Senate, out of 109 members, only 4 are women, and 1 has just been suspended for 6 months. So we have 3 women now. Out of how many? Okay, if we remove the suspended senator, that's 108. We remove 3, the mathematicians, you know the figure. What is left? And this is a game of the ayes have it, the nays have it. So how can laws be passed that will be empathetic to women? Men are not women. And now that brings me back to what I said originally when I said it is important to share and to carry our men along. Because if the men understand how we feel, if we have he for she's, you can have men who will stand up for women. We'll have men who will say, yes, I support this motion. That's it. We need to demand accountability from our leaders and our institutions to address gender-based violence and promote women's rights. It's not enough to come here and do fanfare, make a lot of noise. No, we need to start taking action. In the private sector, we need to implement gender-sensitive policies. Policies that promote gender equality, such as equal pay, flexible work arrangements, and protection from harassment. Now, abroad now, a lot of companies are getting nurseries attached to their offices. The truth of the matter is, as women, we give birth to babies. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. That's the truth. And so are you going to say because a woman has had a child, she should be locked up at home? What stops Nigerian companies from coming up with a policy where there will be a nursery attached to the office, where a woman can go and breastfeed her child and still come back to work, where there are nannies on ground, and she knows that her child is safe? These are realities on ground. These are things we have no control over. The question is, how many people are ready to stand up and say, I'm going to make this move in my place of work. I'm going to make this move. I'm going to propose this in my place of work. We need to invest in women's economic empowerment. Invest in initiatives that promote women's economic empowerment, such as entrepreneurship training and access to finance. We need to promote women's leadership. Women in leadership, women in leadership. Promote women's leadership and representation in the private sector, in the CISU, the upper cadre. Like I said, we need to call our governments, call them out, develop and implement gender policies. We have gender policies, but how many are being implemented? We need to develop and implement these policies. Nigeria has policies, but how many of us are aware of that? How many? We need to increase women's participation in decision-making roles and in leadership. We need to provide resources and support for initiatives that promote women's empowerment and gender equality. We can work together to accelerate action towards gender equality in Nigeria. It's all in our hands. Advocating for these policies, for these changes, of course, we know about the gender rules. We also have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. I've said it already, we can engage men, he for she's. How long are we going to continue to be quiet? There are so many examples that abound for women in leadership. We have Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the first female Minister of Finance and Economy in Nigeria, currently the Director General of the World Trade Organization. We have women in powerful roles. Women in powerful roles. We have Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. Currently, she was the former Minister of Education and currently the Vice President of the World Bank's African Division. We have great women. The women that have been mentioned on this platform that are all going to be speakers, they're all amazing. You listening to me, you are also an amazing woman. What are we doing about it? In entrepreneurship, we have people like Folorunso Alakija, one of the largest indigenous oil companies in Nigeria. She owns it. Fanfa Oil, we know that. We have Mo Abudu, Ebony Life TV. We have the founder of Flying Doctors Nigeria, Ola Orekunrin. I'm sure some of us don't even know that. Is it in education? Who don't we have? Chimamanda is making us proud. Where she is, a renowned author and advocate for girls' education and women's empowerment. They're all over the place. So we can't keep quiet. Is it in technology? We're not left out. Piggy, I'm sure you've heard of Piggy First, a fintech company. She's a co-founder, Odunayo Eweniyi, founder of Future Software Resources in Kemdillim, Bego. So many, too numerous to mention. Remarkable women who are inspiring in every sense of the word. All role models. What are we doing? What are we doing? We need to amplify our voices as women. Let's share our stories. Let's share our truths and our experiences of Nigerian women on social media platforms. It's not just to do selfies. No. Let's talk about us. Let's mentor each other and support each other. Let's offer guidance and support to women and girls in our own community. Start from your own home. Start from your backyard. Start from your corner of the earth. Let's challenge patriarchal norms. Let's speak out against discriminatory practices and promote gender equality. Some of these laws we have, and it has nothing to do with religion. It doesn't. It's just a small group of selfish men who have decided to oppress women. And women have bought into that lie. We can organize this. We can step up. We can decide enough is enough. We won't take this anymore. We can decide to look into partnerships. How do we step up from what we're doing? No, we won't continue like this. Because what we decide to do, it's our choice. How many of us know that there's a gender policy? A gender policy. How many of us have that? Not a lot of people know about it. We're all quiet. We don't want to commit. We don't want to be heard. We don't want people to say, oh, is she the one? Why is she barking like a dog? Why is she shouting? No. Sometimes you need to raise your voice to be heard. We have highlighted a lot of success stories. It shows the potential of women and achievement of Nigerian women. But there's still a lot of work to be done. So we can't be quiet. Together, we can create a brighter future for Nigerian women and girls. A future where they have equal access to education, to economic opportunities, to healthcare, a future where they can thrive and reach their full potential. We can accelerate together as Nigerian women. We can drive progress. We can create a Nigeria where women and girls have equal opportunities and equal rights, and most definitely, equal dignity. I'm going to leave us with these final words from Eleanor Roosevelt. She says the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Do you believe in your dream? So as we celebrate International Women's Day, let us remember that empowering Nigerian women is essential to empowering Nigeria as a whole. We must recognize the incredible contributions women make to our society, to our economy, to our families. We must also acknowledge the barriers they face and work to address them. It is important to commit to creating a world where Nigerian women and girls can live life without fear of violence or discrimination, can have equal access to education and economic opportunities and healthcare, and definitely can reach their full potential and pursue their dreams. Together, we can build a brighter future for Nigerian women and girls, a future that is filled with hope, opportunity, and equality. Let's not just be those who mouth platitudes. Let's be people who are burden bearers. Let's agree to stand up as a people, as a gender, to support each other and to speak with one voice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Dr. Ife, for your wonderful address. It's really touching when you not only spoke on the core theme of what today is meant to be about, but also went deeper. And I really appreciate the fact that you made sure to highlight the imbalance in the number of women that have visible representation in politics. Thank you so much for that. I'm also really, really glad that you also made sure to talk about the other issues affecting women, which is to stress on the fact that we don't need to see ourselves as competition because the sky is big enough for every one of us to flourish. Thank you so much for that. And I'm also grateful for the fact that you charged us and told us to look beyond the surface. We shouldn't just look at abstract actions. What are the issues affecting women in our society, in our community? Let's go deeper. Let's go to the grassroots. Thank you so much for that. It is a reflection of who you are and how passionate you are about women issues. Thank you so much for your address. We really, really, really appreciate your time. Thank you once again, Ma.
Well, if there are any questions, I can take them. But
Yes, Ma.
outside
So,
of that,
yes, Ma. Thank you. So we intend to have a Q&A after the speakers have spoken, just so we'll be able to collate them together. All right, Ma. Okay, so after this wonderful address by Dr. Efe, we will now be moving on to our next speaker, which is Raquel Daniel. So I don't know if Raquel can unmute herself now so that she would address us. Hi, Raquel.
Hello, Raquel. You have the floor now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the help that I received when I had the issue with my audio. I'm really grateful. It really shows that there's a lot of support in this platform, and I'm really very privileged to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Efe, for that resounding call and charge. I was just here nodding and just smiling. And thank you for inviting me here, Engineer Jamil. God bless you. So today I just want to quickly, I think I had a blank check which was to speak right from my heart. So I kept thinking, what would be the most appropriate thing to speak about on such an important day, where everyone is talking about accelerating action. I've been on at least 3 meetings last week, and everyone is talking about accelerating action. And I kept asking myself, so what about those who haven't started at all? What would they accelerate? And it just, I kept thinking about it. I kept writing, and I was wondering that, can you accelerate your action on something that you have not started? And the answer is no, really. So I just thought, I think the place I would start from is to say and encourage people, to those who have ideas. The year is still new, even though we're in the 3rd month of the year, but I dare say the year is still fresh and new. Some people here are still thinking about some ideas they have, and which is why I was just nodding when Dr. Effie was speaking, was saying start that initiative, make that call, do that thing. I was like, exactly what I wanted to say. But how do you do that? For me, I would say is to start small. I always say, small steps can give you big results. So how can you accelerate that thing, that action that you're taking? We have to first start. And so I am going back to the basics to say small actions or small steps can actually give us big results. And so, but then when I look at the work that I do and a lot of people that I mentor, what I see, especially among young women, is that a lot of people struggle to start small, because first, the idea is that we want to go big and want to go big very, very fast. That's the truth. We compare our chapter 1 to the chapter 20 of someone else, and we just want to just have the biggest refinery. We want to have the biggest manufacturing plant. We just want to have the most, the nonprofit that is earning millions, or doing projects across the across Africa already, without even piloting and starting small. Another thing is, people are afraid to be beginners. I kept thinking about it when I was learning how to drive a couple of years ago. The instructor said something. He said, if you want to be a great driver, you have to learn to drive first. And that thing stayed with me, because you can't be a great driver if you don't even start driving, or you don't even learn how to drive. So a lot of people are afraid to be beginners. You can't be great at what it is you want to do, whatever it is that you're doing, if you don't even start. So if you're afraid of starting, know that you're actually holding yourself back from being great. And another thing that is holding a lot of people back, especially women, because this is International Women's Day, so I am speaking to women, is we're waiting for the perfect time. And honestly, it never comes. The perfect time never comes. So a lot of us struggle to start that initiative. We're struggling to start that project. You're struggling to write that book. You're struggling to start that podcast. You're struggling to start that blog, because you don't want to start small. You don't want to start on Medium writing articles. You want to first build your own website, and you don't have the money. But you can start with just owning a Medium account and just putting your thoughts there. You don't want to start volunteering for a nonprofit because you want to start your own nonprofit. Well, in all honesty, you can actually start volunteering with someone else and then grow from there. And so it's the same thing with business. You don't want somebody to mentor you. You just want to just start a business, and the business is making billions. So why are you afraid to start small? The days of little beginnings are very, very important. If you don't start, you will never be great. That's what I always say. And so, and that would lead me to the next thing that I wrote down to talk about, is why it's important to really start small. And I'm going back to my driving school, because it's like 5 years ago, but it's still very clear in my head. Is, I realized that if you begin to build gradually, you build momentum. If you do, and it has to be gradual. Every momentum, every small win is something you build gradually. And if you're consistent, you will build intensity. And that's how you become better at what you do. So there's power in starting small, is what I'm trying to say. And the truth is, starting small removes the fear of failure sometimes for a lot of people. Because if you're starting with a little, if you lose it, you cannot go back and start again. But imagine putting a lot of money into that project and then you lose everything. But if you pilot and you start small and you test the waters, you can say, oh, this is working, or this is a great book. I've written my first book, 200, maybe 20 pages, first and foremost. Oh, it's great. The book sold well. I can write the next book and all that. And starting also makes you and helps you become better. I wrote my first book when I was 9 as a child, but nobody helped me to publish that book. But I always remember it as my first book. But as an adult, I wrote my first book in 2020, right before COVID, and that's when I launched my first book. And between then and now, I've done almost 40. And why? Because I wrote the first one and I continued. There's a long gap between when I was 9 and year 2020. But when I went back to writing in year 2020 during COVID, and I started to write because I had a lot of time in my hand, I was writing consistently. I was writing every day. I had a target to write at least 2-page words every day, 2 pages every day. I stuck to it. Sometimes it was really hard. I would have a lot of things doing, but I would say to myself, Raquel, you said you're going to write 2 pages every day. You're going to write 2 pages every day. And then I went up to, okay, I'm going to write about, let's say, 3,000 words every week and like that. But I kept doing that. And that's how when I started writing children's books, it became easier. So when people say I churn out books very easy, is because I've done it over and over and over and over again. So you are an expert in something but you can only be an expert if you start. So expertise comes when you have started. So now it's easy for me to just come up with a fantastic children's book idea in my head, and I'll publish in less than 6 weeks. Why? Because I've done it over and over and over again, at least 30 to 40 times. So I would say that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So what is it that you want to do this year? Let's say January has been testing for you. March, you are warming up. February, you are warming up. This is March. Can you march forward? To say this month, as I get off this call, I'm going to do something about it. And why about it? And how are you able to do it? Because one, if you do it every day, you get better. Every day, you get better. I know someone who said to me that January they wanted to go to the gym. And I thought, oh, that's great. And she started going to the gym in January. I hadn't seen her, but I've been seeing her WhatsApp status updates about this journey. And I could see the transformation. I didn't see it at first. So the whole of January, I don't think I saw anything, really different in her look. But by March, I'm beginning to say, this baby's looking different too. And she just said it casually that she's going to the gym. And it's been almost 3 months and she's consistent. So if you improve by 1% every day, you'll be 37 times better in a year. 37 times better in a year. So let's say we've lost January, let's say we've lost February, but March is just 8th of March. You can start tomorrow morning. Sunday is a new week, 9th of March, 2025, starting that thing that you want to start. Because if you don't do it, somebody else will do it. And if you don't do it, you will remain exactly where you are. And so it's something to keep at the back of our mind, that thing that we're sitting on is an idea that might change the world. I recall that and I'm using personal examples because it's very easy to use personal examples because they're real, that when I wrote my first book, it was a book on menstruation for girls. I had no idea that was going to sell as fast as it sold because I wrote it for the girls that I was working with in my NGO because they were just my target audience. Write a book for these girls. And it was easy to write for them. But by the time I started to get people say, oh, I want the book for my daughter, I want the book for my granddaughter, oh, my niece needs this book. And then an international organization says, oh, you already work with girls, Raquel. Can we give these girls the book as part of your project? And it became a big deal. And if I didn't take the step to first of all pen it down and start to write, I wouldn't sold as many copies that I sold during COVID and post-COVID. So I always say that people say they want to read 50 books in a year. But I say, just why not try saying, I want to read 5 pages a day. At least start from there. Before you know it, at the end of the year, even if it's 5 books you've read, you know that you've read XYZ number of pages. You will call out your success per the number of pages of books you've read than the number of books you read. And thinking through it, you might say, okay, Raquel, we've heard a lot about your story. You're telling us your story is okay, it's okay, it's okay. There are other people that I have looked up to. When I started my journey, when I wrote my first book, I was waiting for the first person to buy. I remember posting it online. And the first person to buy was from my family, of course. But I said, no, I want the first outside. I'm waiting for the first outside to buy. That would reach out and say, oh, I want to buy this book. And what was my philosophy? Simple. I always remember the Coca-Cola story that they sold 1 bottle per day when they launched in 1886. It's a long time ago, but 1 bottle per day. So that means if I can able to sell one book in a day, or in a week, at least I've done something. It was a simple, and I stuck to it, and I kept publicizing my book, and that's how I started to make sales. And so Coca-Cola was a company that I looked up to. I said, if I don't even think Coca-Cola needs to do adverts. We will still buy Coke. That's the truth. And that's because they started with just selling one bottle that they could have people were buying, and now look at where they are. And so if you say, oh, Coca-Cola is too far, look at Aliko Dangote. We're buying his fuel now. When I first knew Aliko Dangote, I didn't know him as, so I knew him as Aliko Dangote cement, Dangote cement. That's all I knew growing up as a young person, I think, was just cement. Now, if I go to the kitchen, I have so many brands of Aliko Dangote's products, from sugar to pasta to salt, all in the kitchen, because he has dominated a lot of this industry. He started with borrowed money from his uncle, a small loan. Say, take this loan, go and trade. And he traded. Now he's one of Africa's largest manufacturers, a big empire from loan from an uncle. And some of us are afraid to just start. We're just sitting on that very grand idea. Maybe some of us even have a food business that would change, but we've not done anything about it. We're just sitting on it. So imagine that Aliko Dangote is sitting down somewhere, not doing anything about it. He won't have the petrol we have right now. And I have a filling station close to my house that sells Aliko Dangote's fuel. And if you see the way the queue is always long, it's so long. Because sometimes I say, is there no other place you can go and buy fuel? It always makes me feel like there's no fuel in the country when I see it. Imagine he didn't take the step to even start with the cement he's doing and the salt and the pasta and everything else he's doing. He won't get here, refinery, doing crude oil and refining it for us. So everything is step by step. And because I'm a writer, another person that inspires me is J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling started with writing. She wrote Harry Potter. I remember how one of the stories I read, she wrote it in a cafe. She had no money. She just go and sit in the corner and write. And as an author, I'm always inspired just thinking that, oh my God, this lady was broke, but she sat somewhere in the corner and managed to write Harry Potter series, without any money. And today, look at what it is. I think about the Apple story, Amazon, all of them. Sometimes when I think that Amazon started as a company selling books, sometimes it blows my mind. I'm like, how can it was a bookshop, literally. But look at what Amazon is today. And so, why are you waiting and sitting on this fantastic, beautiful idea you have, or this beautiful song that you have written, or this beautiful movie or script that you've written that the world needs? It could be a movie that will change Africa, or maybe even it's a social cause problem. Maybe a movie about road safety for children. Maybe children are dying of road safety, and you wrote something that would change the world. But you're sitting on that idea because you're afraid to start small. You're waiting for that big money to start. So I said all that to say that somebody now might be thinking, okay, Raquel, you said so much already in the last 10 minutes. How do I start small? How do I just start? I'm of the opinion that you can pick one thing. So a lot of the challenge with us that we want to do everything at the same time. So if you want to start and build momentum and accelerate your action, as the theme says, I think that you can pick one thing. I didn't write 40 books in one day. It was one by one by one, right? You pick up one thing and start to build it. It gets a place where it can work on its own. You can let it go, and then you start again. No woman gets pregnant while pregnant. You have to first deliver the baby. Then you can take in again. So start now, not later, not tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow, well, you can start tomorrow morning. I already said that earlier. 9th of a new week, 9th of March, 2025. Let that be the day that you start to work on that song or that script or that blog or that non-profit or that business you want to start or that social enterprise. Let tomorrow morning be the day that I say today is day one. And then track your wins. Something I do all the time is no matter how late it is, people order my books or whatever, I ensure that by the time I go every weekend, I make sure I catalog every single sale I make. And it's not because I'm cataloging it to be able to for maybe money purposes. Why it's good for my auditing and stuff, but my cataloging is to record my win, is to record, say, this how many books I've sold of this particular book. This how many copies I've printed of this particular book. I like to do that because there's this feeling it gives me that a particular book have sold 10,000 copies, or or I've donated 5,000 copies, or someone has paid for it and I've given it free to schools. There's the way I feel about like keeping track. So if you're starting small, you're doing it, you're writing 1 article per week, and you want to grow to maybe 3 articles per week, at least write it somewhere. This is the number of articles I've written. These are the days I've written. This is the day I wrote the article. This is how long it took me to write the article. That way you can celebrate your win. And what I've noticed is that for us women, a lot of noise. A lot. I know you can hear my background, my children are all over the place already screaming. There's distraction for women. It's a lot. And that helps us. It makes us not to stay focused. So it's very, very hard. If you have to separate yourself from the environment so that you are focused a bit, just to start off this fantastic idea that's in your head that has the potential of changing the world, that has the potential of saving lives. Maybe God has even given you the idea to cure cancer, and you are sitting down in your room now thinking, oh, I think I should wait until I'm 40. Maybe you already have the idea of how we can eradicate mosquito from Africa. Let's even start with Nigeria. Eradicate mosquito from Nigeria. But you're sitting on that grand idea. Cut out all the noise, block it off, ignore the noise, and focus. If it means going to rent an office somewhere, or maybe pay for a co-working space when your children go to school, you can do that. If you're unmarried, you have all the time in the world to do that. No excuses. For those who are married, you still don't have a lot of excuses. Well, your children are there, husband is there, and other things, but they can go to school. When they go to school, you have the time to go out. You can't just sit down and use your children is not to deliver to the world this baby that you've conceived. This baby that you've conceived. And I said that to say that a lot of us know when we are carrying this our baby for too long. There's what you are feeling. I've been pregnant with this idea for too long. I've not delivered it. You need to deliver it already. You need to deliver. There's a time to deliver. And most of you, the delivery day has passed. Let tomorrow morning be your next delivery date. Let it be your EDD. The next one to say, this idea I've been carrying for too long, I need to drop it. The world needs to have it. I'm not sure who said this fantastic quote. Says that, I think maybe it was John Maxwell. I'm not sure. It says that the most wealthiest place is the graveyard because it has a lot of potential. People die with their potential. The graveyard is the most wealthiest place in the world. So that means you want to go to your grave with that grand, beautiful idea that would revolutionize Africa, that would do so much to us. So my challenge to us is to take action before you can accelerate your action. So I know that they don't talk about accelerating your action and all that. I understand, but you need to take action first. What is that one thing you want to start with today, tomorrow? Write it down. Commit to doing it for the next 7 days. If it's non-profit you want to build, write it down. If it's a business you want to start, write it down. Then commit the next 7 days. I'm going to spend time every day talking about this idea and building this idea. Because the more you spend time with the idea, the more you build the idea, the better it becomes. And then give yourself time to finally then launch it. Then do it again tomorrow. Then stay consistent. Because small plus consistency equals to growth. Capiche? That's what it is. Small steps, consistency equals growth. And then you keep improving yourself. You learn, you unlearn day by day by day. Someone recently ordered a copy of a book of mine that I wrote many years ago. And I just felt in my heart to just go and look at it again. And I looked at it, I realized I could change a little bit of things here. Things have evolved a bit, And I just tweaked it a bit before I put it out there. And I kept telling myself, imagine that I kept it. I wouldn't have done anything about it. In fact, case in point, my book on COVID-19, it has 5 editions. Because every time we want to reprint, so COVID had evolved, we reprint with a new edition. So I have 5 editions of that book within a year plus. The book for children called As a New Virus in Town. The first one was published, COVID was just new. We need to educate children about COVID-19. It was sponsored by the MasterCard Foundation and it had to be printed. But that was all we knew about COVID. I didn't wait and say, you know what, hold on, let's not publish this book yet until I know everything about COVID. It was published. We distributed in IDP camps. We gave this to so many children. We translated it into Hausa language and distributed the book. As we were working, COVID was evolving. I was updating the book. By the time another organization reached out online on LinkedIn to say, we see that you have a COVID-19 book for children. We want to print XY number of copies. I didn't print the first version I printed. I printed an updated version. As COVID was evolving, I was printing. I have 5 versions. All versions I have in my house right now. Every single 5 of them, I have them with me. Because each time I look at the 5 versions, I say to myself, the last version was the last one that was printed in 2021. And I keep asking myself, what if I didn't print the first book? Won't be at the 5th book. It's simple. So consistently, you improve as you go. You learn, you relearn, you unlearn. But you have to start where you are. You have to use what you have. You have to do what you can. That's what we need from you. So that all this talk and all this conversation that we've had, and we're having and we'll continue to have, all this Women's Month will not be in vain. That by the end of the year, you say, because I've been a part of XYZ program, that's the little step I took today. This is the progress that it has done something to you. So I want to encourage us today. Imagine where you'll be in a year, end of this year. What will happen if you plant that tree now? What happens if you start to plant it and start to water it immediately? What happens over time? It can become a forest. So don't sit on your ideas, I beg you, because you can only accelerate something that's already in motion. And a lot of us, our ideas are not in motion yet. And a lot of us are just keep conceive the babies and we're still pregnant till today. And so I would close by just saying, you can do it, really. It might look like it's so big, is whatever, you can do it. Whether you want to be a presenter, go and look for somewhere, a TV station and go and intern, or pick up a tripod and rehearse. AI has made it easy. Whether you want to be a writer, start writing something. Whatever it is you want to do, the likes of Oprah Winfrey, Dangote, Steve Masiawa, all of this, Elon Musk, everyone started somewhere. Everyone. No one just woke up one day and they became big. No one. Because small doors open big rooms. That's what it is. Small doors open big rooms. So my charge with you as I close today is, what will you do starting today? What will you do starting tomorrow? Thank you.
Please unmute yourself and give Raquel Daniels a huge round of applause, please. Thank you so much, Raquel. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for charging us. Thank you for pushing us forward. Thank you for ensuring that more women are mentored, more women are inspired, to dream big and be a better version of themselves. Right. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your insights, and we say a very big thank you from here. We also like to acknowledge the over 100 and 460 participants right here in this program attending. We say thank you for sticking with us and staying still.
To also contribute to what Ijoma just said, thanks once again, Raquel, for your charge for women. I really I like what you did by ensuring that your address to us is somehow also centered around the theme of the event today. The event today is meant to be accelerate action, and you charging us to march forward, to not be afraid to be a beginner, to not procrastinate a great idea just because we feel it's not perfect yet, to stop waiting around for the perfect time. I believe that's like an awesome way to just, put together the encompassing thing that this event is meant to be about. Thank you so much for that. I believe what you just shared with us today will be a form or a way to let the young women that are on this call today to know that no idea is too small to execute. As Raquel mentioned, if it is a podcast, if it is a blog, if it is a business, just start. Because as you start what you're doing, there is always continuous iteration. That is continuous improvement, as we say in project management. And as she cited as an example was the book she wrote during COVID. She mentioned writing it, and then when subsequently there is need for her to push the book forward, she started publishing the ones that she had made substantial changes to, which shows that you just don't start and be great at it. And when you fail at a new enterprise or new business or new idea that you are working on, you shouldn't just get frustrated. You should still try and keep improving and improving yourself, because as they usually say, Rome wasn't built in a day. So thank you so much, Raquel, for your address. So we'll be moving shortly to the next speaker. But before we move on to the next speaker, we would like to take questions from everyone on the call. I believe Dr. Ife is still here with us. I can see her. I told her that we will be taking questions after this session. So, or I think I can see Joseph Joey's hands raised.
All right, good evening, moderator. Am I being heard? Am I allowed to go ahead with my question?
Yes, please, you are audible. Good evening.
Okay, good evening one more time to the two moderators, the first speaker and the second speaker. The section was explicitly delivered, and I must applaud the two of them. Thank you so much, and happy International Women Days to all the women on the call. My question goes this way. From the first speaker, my question is straightforward. I just like how to um, differentiate or lay a little voice between the difference between women inclusion and gender inclusion and feminism. Reasons behind this question is simply because I felt, my opinion, that some ladies, um, in the quest for gender equality, misunderstood the concept, in my opinion anyway, the concept and what is expected it to be, and they misuse, or they, what's the right word now? They don't get it right, and they feel that it's always a competition between men and women. And I will start an example. I'll cite an example. Um, Up to date, I know a lady. I know a lady that remained unmarried simply because she felt, in the quest of fighting for gender equality, there is no regard for man, and it's just a decision that she cannot submit to man and all of that. So I feel that in the society there is this misconception between the two words, and I just like the speaker to help us lay voice on that and how that can properly man. Does that mean women do not need man? Does that mean the space of man? I'm not really saying that, as it's been said traditionally, that men are the head and women must be victimized and be suppressed. No, really. But I just like her to help us put a balance between and enlighten us on how best women can go about that without, misconcepting and misunderstanding the whole thing. I hope my question is clear. Hello, I hope my question is
Hello.
clear.
Yes, your question was clear. I believe this is for Dr. Ife. I am very sure she will do justice to the question you just raised. Dr. Ife, ma.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma.
Okay. I don't know what's happening to this. Okay. I guess the mic was just. Okay. So if I understand you well, you're talking about the difference between feminism and gender equality. Am I right? Am I
Very
right?
correct, ma'am. Very correct,
Okay.
ma'am.
Well, okay. All right. Well, for gender equality has focuses more on equal opportunities and treatment for all individuals, regardless of gender. It doesn't matter whether you are a male, you are female, you know. So it focuses on equal opportunities, equal treatment, basically it. It also has to do with inclusivity. So it encompasses rights for men, women, and of course, Oh, because let me give an example. If, for example, you're in class with somebody that is that has sight issues, and for want of a better word, you know, it's not a politically correct way of calling them, but I will call them blind so that everybody understands who I'm talking about. A blind person, and the person does not have a braille machine in class. Would you consider that that person's rights have been trampled on? I'm asking a direct question.
Sorry, I missed the part where you say if the
When the
person does
person
not
is,
have
yes,
what
I'm saying
exactly.
that braille machine, blind people, they don't see.
Okay, yeah.
So they need the
Okay.
braille to work. Now we're talking about equal rights. So what will you consider equity or equitable? Now, to just cut the long story short, of course, the person that is blind needs a braille machine. That is what is considered equitable. Because you and I, because we are sighted, we don't need a braille machine. But the person that is blind needs a braille machine. If he or she doesn't get a braille machine, their rights are being trampled on. So it also has to do with inclusivity, like I said, encompassing the rights for men and women. And it can be policy driven. This can be achieved through policy. Okay, there's a baby also who wants to be heard. It can also be, achieved through policy changes, of course, education, social reforms, and all that. But when it comes to feminism has to do with women's empowerment. It advocates for women's rights and challenges systemic inequalities. The first one is talking about man and woman, everybody having equal rights. The second one is talking strictly about women. You see the difference? Anti-sexism, it addresses, different historical systemic sexisms, misogyny, this patriarchal society. We talked about Nigeria being a patriarchal society, so it addresses patriarchy and all of that. Male-dominated spaces where men feel that their word is law, and it seeks to dismantle these oppressive structures and promote women's autonomy. In other words, the woman has rights. So it's focused on the woman. Gender equity or gender equality is not focused on women. There's a difference. It's not focused on women. Gender equality is broader, while feminism focuses strictly on women empowerment. For gender equality, it emphasizes policy changes, while feminism is a bit more radical. It involves, radical transformation. It's focused strictly on the woman's rights. And for goals, like I tell people, I'm not a feminist. I believe in gender equity. I don't believe a woman should be given handouts. I believe a woman can compete on a level playing ground. That's my belief. So gender equality seeks equal opportunities, while feminism aims to challenge and dismantle oppressive systems. Oh, it's all about oppressing the woman. We want to free the woman. But gender equality is about everybody has equal rights. I don't know. I hope I've not confused you. Was I able to explain it better or explain it well?
Well, it's actually clear. Yeah, it's actually clear. Thank you so much for the
Thank you.
response.
Thank
My
you.
concern just lying between even in the face of defining or talking about feminism, I don't know if I'm right to say some women still a kind of misunderstood it, and perhaps time my if time will permit us to for you to help us spell out. And what I mean by that is, if in the context of marriage institution, how do you manage the concept of feminism not to bring a sort of division or a sort of um, um, something that may not really promote a healthy marriage, in marriage when we're talking about feminism? I don't know if you really understand. I quite understand your response. My concern just seems a little bit towards feminism and how it can be properly managed, especially in the space of marriage. If you want to do justice, perhaps you might want to go a little bit further by possibly outlining if there are responsibilities, to each party that may not, really compromise the primary agenda or aim, of a healthy marriage. I hope you get
Thank
me,
you
ma.
so much. Please, we are running out of time and we're trying to manage as much time that we have. We'll be welcoming Folake Shoito right now to take her speech, and we would take questions afterwards. I will also appreciate that people type in the chat boxes so that we can effectively manage our time. So, Madam Folake Shoito.
Thank you very much, Ma, for joining us today. You have the floor, Ma.
Good evening, everyone. Please reconfirm that you can hear me. I was waiting for her to actually call me on. It's been a really long day. Happy International Women's Day to everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Happy International Women's Day to everyone. I hope you guys have had a good day. It's been a long day for me. As you can imagine, with all the pressure and all the issues and challenges that has happened in the course of the week. But we are here. We move, we progress. And I know that Engineer Jami had given me this slot and he had asked me to be part of it. And I was very happy to be part of this, but it's just been a little bit distracting. But I said to him, I will try my best and just quickly log on and, just celebrate the beautiful women and the strong women that are on this call. I unfortunately I couldn't join earlier on because, like I said, I was part of some strategy session, but I'm here now. So it is indeed my pleasure to be here today. Like I said, I wish I could join earlier, but I'm happy to celebrate this year's International Women's Day under the theme Accelerate Action. For me, this theme is not just a call to, to push forward, a call to move beyond the usual discussions and conversations. I think for me, it's really a call to take real steps towards change that would make a difference. I don't know if this statistics has come up earlier before I was called on to speak. But data shows today that in order to get, and this is not just in Nigeria, for us to get to the global stage we're looking to,
Okay, so I believe Madam Folake Shoiton is currently having network issues. So please let us just wait a while. She will soon join us.
Okay, with the beautiful speeches we've heard from Dr. Efe and Raquel Daniels, I'm sure that we have gained as much insight as we can today as we mark International Women's Day, right? And with the powerful theme, Accelerate Action, I'm sure that we've been charged in one way or the other. Before Madam Shoeto started speaking, someone was talking about, gender equality, gender equity, feminism. And I'd like to share a bit of my own thought to this. And I hope that this also helps. And I also appreciate if you have questions, please type in the chat box only. Type in the chat box only so that we can take them or attend to them if we have time, right? So when it comes to gender equality, gender equality is asking, you want the man and the woman to have, the same rights. And of course, gender equity, just as Dr. Effie has mentioned, is ensuring that you understand the challenges of the other person and then you only attend to needs based on that challenge. So if it will take me 10 minutes to get to work, I might not need to have maybe I might not need that very quick form of transportation to get there. So for that person who is going to spend 1 hour to get to the same location, then you need to consider that person and make that person top priority. And so what we're saying as in a day like this and for women is that because women make over half of the population in Nigeria, we want to ensure that more women, are in those decision-making tables, are in those policy changing environments where their issues are discussed, their issues are deliberated. You cannot be talking about building roads or building bridges or, creating infrastructure without putting the space of, putting the mind of the woman in the picture. How will she be affected? How is she being catered for? We're just saying that men should not only be the ones making the decisions that affect men and women alike. We're saying that both men and women should be on that same table. Both men and women should be on that same table. And so when, as a man, you think that, oh, my wife will when she's pregnant, she would go to the hospital. How does she get to the hospital? What is she supposed to be doing, after having her baby and all of that? The woman who is carrying the child has a different kind of need. So we need to really understand, the place of the woman in every sphere of life. Thankfully, we can see that in different fields. Thankfully, we can see in different fields how women are coming up. Now, let's re-welcome Folake Shoito, the CEO of Ikeja Electric. We have the largest electric distribution company in Nigeria. We have earlier welcomed her, and it's good to have her here again. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Okay. All right. Good evening once again. Please confirm you can hear me. I didn't even realize I had been thrown out. So I don't even know at which point I was logged off or you guys couldn't hear me.
Oh, yes, we can
please,
hear
can you
you
confirm
clearly
you
now.
can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Good evening, everyone, once again. Happy International Women's Day. I'm very delighted and happy to be here. And I would like to first of all apologize for just logging in to the session. It was meant to be 5 o'clock, but as some of you might know, this week has been a very hectic one. We've had some major challenges in my space, but we are here, we're moving forward and we're pushing. So please accept my apologies. I would like to obviously thank the organizers of this program, Engineer Jamu, who has given me the opportunity to be able to share, share a few things, no matter how brief it is, with the women and the beautiful women that are logged on to the call today. Like I always say, I think this is my third discussion this week on this theme called Accelerate Action. And for me, this is not just a theme for the sake of being a theme, but I think it's a theme for a call for us to push forward. I think it's a time for us to move beyond the conversations that we've been having over the last how many years. I think it's time for us to begin to take real steps towards achieving this gender diversity, knowing the benefits of having a gender balanced environment. And so I'm very excited and very happy to be here to just, kind of just share my own perspective on this theme called Accelerate Action. Like I said, I like to thank Ajami for, inviting me to be here to, share my thoughts. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? I think talking about this gender equality and women's empowerment is not really a new thing. I've sat on several panels. There have been several panel discussions. There have been policies, but the reality is today, I would like to, would I say challenge us, or would I say ask us, and say, do we think, considering the amount of discussions, awareness, like I said, seminars, panel discussions that have been held,
Okay, doctor. Okay. Falake Shoiton is, I think there's network challenge. I think we're having a technical issue here. So as I was saying earlier about gender equality, gender equity, I'm looking forward to reading questions. I'm looking forward to reading out questions in the chat box while we wait to have Falake Shoiton back.
You can gain access to some of the questions in the Slido link. If you click on the Slido link, there are some questions there. I think there's also some questions in the Q&A.
Okay. Okay, so right now I'll be calling for closing remark Engineer Jamiu Badmos, the founder and visionary QHSES Leadership Academy. Let's have it here.
Please confirm you can hear me. Adegoyega.
Loud
Good
and
evening
clear,
once
sir.
again. We thank every one of us from 5 o'clock. Some have been here before 5. Around 4:30, we open the link and people are here. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope we enjoy ourselves. Sometimes network glitches can affect some of the presentation, as you can see. But all things being equal, we thank all the speakers for this great opportunity. These are people that will bring them to come and speak in the program. They charge you in dollars, in big naira. But today they have come down here without any cover, without anything. We just told them, and they said they want to come and talk to us here. With all due respect and humility, I say thank you to my one and only sister, Sister Kasham. You did very well, very wonderful presentation. My big sister, the barrister herself, Mr. Efe, wonderful, and my mentor and leader, Folake Shueton, despite all the network glitches and whatever happened, and what happened to us in the Texas General Electric this week on Thursday, we all had it. Check Google, check everywhere. We see how the military took over, like causing what we call the late siege, and they invaded the company. Like I did a lot to manage herself, and today we thank God we can also have her. This is a very serious one for her to even show up here. I must tell us that today, the International Women's Day celebration of the company was postponed because of this incident. But today, after a meeting with some of the board members, she still tried to find a way, but network will not allow us. Because some of our colleagues are fasting and they need to break their fast. I want to say, we thank every one of our leaders on this call, as we want us to continue to have a lot of conversation and discussion around equity, equality, and other terms that we mentioned here. We want to say thank you to every one of us on this call. And by God's grace, going forward in April, we are going to have World Safety Day, World Day for Safety and Health at Work. And that will also continue with those conversations. All things being equal, to the moderators, the lead moderator, IK, Ijoma, thank you so much for wonderful, the way you marshal the presentation, and to the monitor support, that is Gafar Abdulaziz. Good job that you guys have done today. I want to say thank you so much, and God bless you all. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you. Hello, ma.
Thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your efforts. And this is from us saying thank you so much for being here. And do have a great evening. Bye.